You said never let me go. You said never let me.
Hey guys, so it's been a little while since I updated you at the end of January. It's now my birthday. I'm 27, 4th of February. And this is my January wrap up. So January was a bit of a hit and miss month for me. Like, I had weeks where it was just book after book after book, and then a week of nothing. So it was very strange reading wise. Also, primarily non-fiction, which is extremely strange for me. So I'm gonna run through on my phone of what I read. So the first book I read was To Look a Nazi in the Eye by Jordana Leibowitz. I ended up giving that 4.25 stars, I believe. Really good memoir about a girl who gets to witness the trial of he is essentially an accountant for the Nazi Party, but he is involved very heavily with Auschwitz. And at the same time, I also read I Think I Might Be Autistic by Cynthia Kim, and I gave that one 3.5 stars. Both fairly short, pretty, I Think I Might Be Autistic was pretty chill, you know, it was only just over 100 pages. To Look a Nazi in the Eye was depressing, but also depressing in a good kind of way. It's hard to explain. Then I had to switch it up. I went and I read A Shadow Crown and A Vicious Game by Melissa Blair. Both of those got 4.5 stars. The Halfling Saga I started last year. Really enjoyed book one. And the series so far is amazing. It's going places. I originally thought it was just going to be a trilogy, so I thought A Vicious Game was the end, but the way that ended, it's clearly not a trilogy. It's going to be a longer series. I can see it being 4, possibly 5 books. And then we went back to non-fiction. So I read Cultish by Amanda Montowell. As someone who studies a language, the way language is used and how it can be used in different ways to achieve different goals is very interesting. And this was a great book, from how she looks at actual cults, Jonestown, the Family, Heaven's Gate. Ooh, sorry about that. To more modern cults, you know, CrossFit, and other ones that were amazing. It's very funny, but also kind of drives home the point that it's not the personality of the person that gets other people to blindly follow them. It's the way in which they use their words, which does bring to mind the quote, "The pen is mightier than the sword," and it's kind of proven there. And then I read The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. As far as memoirs go, it's very short, but it's absolutely devastating to read, especially if you followed what happened to Britney, what's happening to Britney during the pandemic years. Very much heartbreaking. We then switched topics again, and I read Slow Down, A Degrowth Manifesto by Kohei Saito, which primarily looks at climate change, and I state many times in my review that my own personal views on climate change do not align with the authors. But what drew me to read it is how he thinks changing from a capitalist society to a more communist society could actually make the world of difference. And that is what I read it for. I don't think I give you my star rating. So Cultish I gave 4.5 stars. The Woman in Me I gave 5 stars. And Slow Down I gave 3.5 stars. Now, I did start another book in January, but I didn't finish it until February 1st, and that was only the last couple of chapters, so I am going to count it for January, and that was Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton, another memoir. As you can probably tell, Harry Potter was and is a huge part of my life. And reading Tom's perspective on growing up as a child actor, you gotta remember, Draco Malfoy wasn't Tom's first major acting gig. He was in Anna and the King with Jodie Foster, and he did The Borrowers with Mark Williams and Jim Broadbent before that. So he already knew the way the industry kind of worked for child actors when he auditioned for Harry Potter. But it isn't primarily about that. It talks about the realities of being on set, like how they have limited time to actually act. They have enforced tutoring, they have chaperones, all this stuff. But he actually talks about the culture surrounding child stars, so how some that are thrust into the limelight very young end up developing a lot of mental health and substance abuse problems. Daniel Radcliffe did. He very openly states that he dealt with an alcohol problem while filming Half-Blood Prince. And Tom makes the distinction because for Emma, Daniel, and Rupert, Harry Potter took over their entire lives. They didn't go to normal school, they didn't have normal friends. It became everything about their identity. Whereas for him, playing a secondary character in Draco, he still went to a normal school, he still had normal friends, plus he had siblings, so it balanced out that kind of stardom lifestyle with getting smacked back to reality every time he went home, because he was the youngest of 4 brothers and was treated like the youngest sibling. So yeah, there's that, and he talks about his life after Harry Potter and how he hadn't really considered what was going to happen, because at that point Harry Potter had taken up so much of his life. Tom also struggled with an alcohol problem after Harry Potter, which he did enter rehab for. But the thing I liked most about it was the way he talks about his friendships with his brothers, with the adult actors he worked with, like Jason Isaacs, who he still calls dad to this day. His platonic soulmate relationship with Emma Watson, and many, many more. And it really touched me quite a lot. So there's that. So while we're here, I will give you a little update on what I'm currently reading and what's coming up. So currently I have 3 books that I'm currently reading. I'm still reading Narcissus in Chains. I'm halfway through. I haven't picked that up since the last time I updated you about it, which seems to be my running theme with Anita Blake. I get really into it for a little bit, and then I don't look at it for months. And I'm very behind in my readathon, so I'm also reading At Every Depth. I'm 20% of the way through this, and the one I'm currently reading right now is Killing the Witches by Ben O'Reilly, and I'm just over halfway through that. Reviews to look for coming up. I have My Throat an Open Grave by Tori Bovalino, because I am on a blog tour for that, and I also have Not Good for Maidens to read. Snow Globe by So-Young Park. Have no idea what that's about. It just, the cover was really cool, and it's from, I think, a Korean author. And then, because I'm on blog tours for the sequels of both of these books, I will be rereading both Seven Faceless Saints by M.K. Lob and Momo Arashima Steele's The Sword of the Wind by Misa Sugiura, because I'm on the blog tours for Disciples of Chaos and Momo Arashima Breaks the Mirror of the Sun. So they will all be coming primarily in February. I think the latest blog tour is the sequel in the Momo Arashima series, and that's the 1st of March. So all of those books will be coming in February. And you're also going to see a change in my videos. So now, because of my stand, I can move you around a lot more, so you should get better visuals. I also finally have my Tower PC set up so that I can run proper editing software on it, because my poor laptop, which is I think like 4 or 5 years old at this point, just can't handle it. And I've also got a webcam with that, so I'm gonna try out the webcam, see how it compares to my iPad, kind of go from there. So yeah, that was everything, guys, and hopefully I'll have another video for you soon.